Kathy would soon need that newfound confidence. The survivors were set to testify against Bundy. But this time, his life was in their hands.
To know I was going to have to testify, I think I just needed to build up my resolve and know that this was going to happen and be prepared as much as I could for it. We locked eyes once again, and I stared at him.
I think I always knew that I was going to have to testify in court if it went to trial.
In this case.
Get away from here. You know you're not supposed to be here.
Excuse me.
There was a total media circus.
Get!
We'll be standing by.
Prosecuting attorney Larry Simpson.
And it was the first major case that actually was broadcast live.
Evaluating it.
As it was actually going down in the courtroom.
Only one camera fixed on a tripod tapes the courtroom proceedings. His 20 television crews from around the country have been covering the trial.
Get a front row seat, you can get it all there.
Well, I think Mr. Bundy was playing to the cameras.
Roberts, my name's Ted Bundy.
He got a real kick out of it.
At trial, Bundy again took an active role on his defense team.
Exhibits entered on this motion.
By participating in his own defense, Bundy and his attorneys hoped to convince the jury that he was intelligent, articulate, and innocent, a victim of circumstances.
Bundy had a lot of interaction with the judge. He argued his own motions as good as a lawyer could, I think.
Young women packed the courtroom every day to see the star defendant.
Every time he turns around, I kind of get that feeling, no, you know, he's gonna get me next.
As lead prosecutor, Larry Simpson felt pressure
at or near the cause of death
to make sure Bundy was put away forever.
The cases out west were not particularly strong cases.
By George, we know.
We needed to finish the job in Florida.
The survivors felt that pressure too, as Cheryl, Karen, and Kathy each took the stand.
I felt it was important for the jury to see a real person who had been subjected to what Ted Bundy did.
I had 5 skull fractures and multiple contusions in my head.
It was just my mission to tell my story. And I just really didn't want to look at him, didn't want to talk to him, didn't want anything to do with him.
The defense asked, is this the man you saw attack you that night in your room at Chi Omega? And I had to say, I don't know, because I never saw his face. I wanted to help put the nail in that coffin, to put him away, to help the other girls who couldn't do it. But I couldn't help.
And she was weaving it.
Though the survivors couldn't identify Bundy from that night, someone else could. Sorority sister Nita Neary.
Do you recall the man that you saw at the door of the Chi Omega house on the morning of January 15, 1978?
Yes, I do.
Would you point him out for us, please? A man in the dark suit with the red tie?
Perhaps the prosecution's most damning evidence was that bite mark left on one of the victims.
This is a photograph of the bite mark. And as you can see, there's a ruler in place. And this is what the forensic dentist did in court.
They made the marks.
You can actually place this model right on the photograph, and you've got it coming in like this, laying down, and then he turned his head slightly and did it again. It fits like a glove.
But bite mark analysis was a new and relatively uncertain science, and the ever-smiling Bundy seemed confident as the trial came to a close.
Of course, I was worried when it went to the jury, but I knew in my heart and by the evidence that was there that he's the one that actually murdered my friends.
The jury was out a little less than 7 hours and returned a verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty as charged.
The verdict was guilty as charged on all counts.
He was convicted, and now whatever sentence he got couldn't be bad enough as far as I was concerned.
It is ironic that he ended up in Florida because we were a very active death penalty state.
It is hereby imposed the death penalty.
He was sentenced to death on my birthday. I don't believe the death penalty should be a willy-nilly kind of thing, but if he had gotten out, there were women that were going to die. I have no doubt in my mind.
Following the FSU trial, Bundy was also found guilty of murdering 12-year-old Kimberly Leach and received another death sentence.
After the trial was over, I felt that it was just going to be all over and no more in the news or anything. But that didn't happen. It was probably just crazy for me to think that.
As Bundy sat on death row, his notoriety only grew. Books and TV programs came out, focusing on his good looks and charm. Instead of rejecting it, Kathy decided to embrace it.
I read as much as I could about Ted Bundy, watched all his movies, because I think by learning about him, it has helped me move forward because I wanted to just disassociate myself so that he wasn't part of me anymore.
In 1981, 3 years after the attacks, Kathy had a son, Michael.
I didn't want him to know that I had been scared, that I had been attacked. I just wanted to be a normal mom with a normal kid. One night, I was putting him to bed, and he looked up at me, and he touched my face. And he said, "Mommy, what happened to your face right there?" And I told him that a bad man came into my house one night and had hurt me.
You just don't grasp that at a young age. You don't really get it, but you kind of do, and you just feel like, you know, I'm not going to let anybody hurt you. I felt that it was important to keep her safe. She was such a loving person. How could somebody do that to... Sorry.
And I think in his mind, he always carried that it could happen again. And would I be there, you know, to help my mom?